Yo, it's us back again. Crate 808, the 90s hip hop podcast, here to bless you again. And today we're just continuing our series, talking to the artists from the rap supergroup Kingdem. We've had Ty on, we're going to have Rodney P on, and this episode today, this is going to be Blak Twang. So any of you guys out there who know your UK hip hop know Blak Twang, man. He's a legend. He's a legend. Tony Rotten, you know, the original hip hop geezer. He's stepping in. He's going to talk all things 90s, his career, and just generally chat rap with us. So yes, keep it locked. But Yo, and welcome to another episode of Crate 808. And today we are blessed by a true UK rap legend, original hip-hop geezer himself, Blak Twang. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. How are you?
All good, man. All
wicked,
good.
Wicked.
Yeah, man. Blessing us, man. Blessing us right now. This is what I want to hear. Deptford in the house, isn't it?
Deptford in the house by a Croydon nowadays.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm in Crawley, man, so I'm not far.
Okay, not too far.
Not far.
I'm in a place called Shirley. It's the leafy part of Croydon.
Oh, is it?
You know.
Yeah, I like it. Balling. What are you saying is balling? What are you saying?
Trying to.
But yeah, man, nice to have you in, man. So we had Ty on, we had Rodney P on. So basically, the rap supergroup, emphasis on super here. Kingdem. Yeah, man, bringing out some new music.
Yes, we are. We got an EP about to drop. It's called the Kingdem, named after the group itself.
Yeah.
But look forward to it. It's a 4-track EP.
Yeah.
Obviously, produced by Nutty P, myself, and Chidi Digital.
Okay.
So yeah, it's quite flavorful, quite interesting. You might have heard a couple of joints already.
I heard a few, man. So, yeah, King Step.
Yep, King Step, Conversation, Just Saying. There's a bunch of tracks on there. It's nice.
How'd that come about, man?
So basically, it was a situation where myself and Ty shared the same booking agent. We was just trying to think of ways to really get us sort of active again doing shows, because we hadn't. Well, Ty had been active as far as putting out music and whatever. But myself, I hadn't been putting out like a lot of music. I'm putting out the odd single here and there, EPs, whatever. So he was like, "Yeah, how would you feel about touring with Ty?" I was like, "Yeah, of course, I'm cool." And then like a few months later, he was like, "Yeah, what about Rodney P?" Then boom, we all had a meeting, and then we sat down. We said, "Yeah, let's make it happen." It's a no-brainer, really. Like obviously, Ty's got his following. Rodney P's been around forever. Basically, he's the OG. And then myself. And then after the meeting finished, we come up with a name. I came up with Kingdem. The rest
just
is,
like that.
Yeah, the rest is King Street.
King Street, like that, man. That's wicked, man. Because a lot of people on this podcast, they're a bit young, might be from America, you may not know. But these boys are pioneers, man. And I'm talking like proper, like Rodney P, godfather of the rap game. Ty, yourself. I mean, personally, on my own, when I got into UK hip hop, I come from a little village in Yorkshire, just so you know, man.
Okay.
Like, it was all US. All I had was Westwood, Yo MTV Rap, Source Magazine, Hip Hop Connection. No one around me into the game, into the rap game anyway. And I came here for uni, and it was 99.
Wow, okay.
And all my boys, big up Joel from Tooting. Yeah. Okay. He was like, "Oh, so like, you know, what kind of rap do you like?" I was telling him what I liked. He was like, "You heard this?" And he gave me 19 long time.
Ooh, it just come out too, fresh.
Right. I was like, "Okay, I'll check it out." You're opening it at that age. I'm like 18. I'm like, come on, man, I'll bring it. Let's do it. I was like, what is this? Like that the way I'd already seen London Posse on telly. I'd already heard people spitting that.
Of course.
But the way you were bringing like Red Letter and the stories and the storytelling, yeah, man, that's some pioneer shit for me.
Definitely. I mean, and the whole idea behind that was really like being inspired by other great artists, American artists too, because just like yourself, all we had was Westwood and Capital Radio, Radio 1 and all this other stuff. But luckily we had like a obviously local scene, so we knew about like local MCs like London Posse and Demon Boys and MCD and them and like a lot of people. Ty as well was out at the time. So for me, it was hearing all those artists, and I thought I want to tell my story from like my estate where I grew up in Deptford, and literally that was where it all came from. So that's why 19 Long Time's called Live from the Big Smoke. That was it.
And I hear rumours that you were engineering as well, right?
Yes. Well, basically, it was one of them ones where I couldn't wait around or even afford an engineer or afford to actually pay for studio time. So luckily for me, a very nice guy called Hank Hughes owned a studio in Holloway Road called Monroe Studios. Okay. It was the equivalent of D&D Studios in the States, because everybody, like whoever's popping in England or in London anyway, used that studio.
Is it?
So you're talking London Posse, like I mentioned, the Brotherhood, Caveman, New Testament,
Damn.
Everybody, literally, like I met everyone in that studio. You know what I mean? So yeah, come and just sit around, learn how to use the equipment, learn how to mix and whatever. And then whenever there was downtime, we'd go in the studio and start making beats. And that's actually where I met London Posse.
Oh right,
Yeah,
so that's back in the day.
Engineering their sessions.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
So myself and a friend of mine called VRS, who happens to be the younger brother of Crazy Noddy, who's another original pioneer from the Syndicate.
Yeah.
We were working there, so that's how it came about. It's kind of mad. You can connect the dots in so many different ways. Like it's, as I say, 6 degrees of separation. It's mad like that. But
that is mad, man.
Yeah.
So we had some listener questions. People like pitching some stuff. They were like, well, once they knew that you guys were coming on, I got a few questions. And there was one guy. This is Ray Ridge. Actually, he's on the Ray Ridge, aka 3 Degrees, the guy who's always on the podcast. He basically wanted to know when's the first time you heard of Ty and Rodney P, and when you first met them, like what was it like?
Right, so I first heard of obviously Rodney P and London Posse in particular, probably back in school days, like rushing home. I think I saw a documentary on probably BBC One or BBC Two with Westwood interviewing Sipo and Bionic, and he was beatboxing. And
is that in the car?
Yeah,
And then in the back of the car?
Yeah, exactly.
That's on YouTube now,
Right,
man.
okay, so that's where I first saw them and knew about them. And obviously everyone knew Money Mad and How's Life in London and Jump Around and all these big joints that they put out. But I first met them probably to actually speak to them 1994 maybe in the studio.
Oh,
in
right.
that studio I'm talking about, in Monroe Studios.
Yeah.
As for Ty, I used to see, Ty, what am I talking about? Ty, I met in a studio in Angeltown in Brixton.
Oh.
This is where we all started out as kids. We were teenagers. And this is like late 80s, early 90s. It was mad because Ty was there, Roots Maneuver was there, a couple other guys were there. Basically, we all used to just go in this estate. And this lovely lady who's now passed away, rest in peace, called Dora, let us literally use one of the flats. And she set up like a studio in one of the flats and let us go in there.
Wow.
To actually learn how to use Fostex, reel-to-reel, how to use drum machines, sampling on a Akai 900, S900, just old school stuff.
That's like education, isn't it? Education, man.
And that's literally, so a lot of the guys used to come. So I think Ty came from Myersfield Estate, which is around the corner, literally next estate along. That's where we all met.
It makes you think that it's a proper organic. It's like a community thing. It all started like you all just knew each other.
Yeah.
And then you all obviously very talented, and obviously as a super group, especially now, and you must like bounce off, the energy must just bounce off each other, right?
Yeah, I mean, now it's I mean, obviously we're old boys now, so now it's all good because obviously we're more professional now because everyone's kind of established and we've put out loads of albums. Probably Ty's got 6 albums. Rodney P's done a whole bunch of projects. I've got like 6, 7, 8, whatever projects and whatever. So now when we go in the studio, everyone kind of knows what they're looking for, and we're MCs, so we just get your pen out and start writing.
Is there a big difference between being a group and being solo, or is it?
Well, yeah, and in a way, I wouldn't even call ourselves. I wouldn't call us a group really. I call us a collective in that sense, because there's not really like group ethos, or everyone just does what they want to do, don't they? So, but it is definitely different, and we're very strong personalities. A lot of alphas, so we don't always kind of see eye to eye. Everyone's got their own ideas, but we kind of find a way to make it work, and that's what's really important.
Yeah, man. And the tracks are banging.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I'm really happy with the way they. And when I tell you, we done that in like 3 sessions, 4 sessions max.
Serious?
Yeah, 90p was amazing as far as how it works, like making the beat. Like literally, we went to the studio. It was like, yeah, okay, cool. We're going on tour. We ain't got no material apart from our material. And yeah, obviously, me and Ty collaborated in the past, and me and Rodney P actually worked on my kickoff album. So we did a track together. So, but apart from those tracks that we collaborated on, we haven't actually got tracks that we say, yeah, this is Kingdem.
Yeah.
And 90p played us a whole bunch of beats, and we're like, yeah, that one's banging, that one's banging, that one's banging. Like almost every beat he played us was like fire.
Yeah.
And then we were just like, yeah, all right, cool, let's pick that one. And then when we just started writing to it, then we took the other 2 home. By the time we came back, we had ideas and we laid them down, and he was quick. Before we even got in, like after the session, he'd probably just record the vocals. Before I get into my house, like drive from West London or South West London to South East, I've already got like rough copies in my inbox waiting to listen to.
Jeez.
Do you know what I mean? So I like that kind of work ethic, and that's the way man was working. So
rapid.
Yeah, very. And that's why it was a success like that. So before the tour even started, we already had those tracks ready, which is mad. So you think about it, we actually had a meeting in, I think, late December or January, and the tour started end of February, and we already had that EP ready.
Oh man.
So it's actually a shame that it's coming out now. But
Yeah.
It's one of of them things, isn't
it's
it?
one of them, isn't it? Oh man. So Twang, man. First of all, I one of the things that we have staple questions on the podcast. 90s hip hop. I forgot to ask you this at the beginning, so I'm gonna ask you now. What's the least hip hop thing you've done in the last 24 hours?
Well, if you knew my other life, you'd realize it was very not hip hop. Least hip hop thing is changing my little nephew's nappy.
Oh man.
He's 1 year old. He's 1 year old, so he dropped a load on him. Drop a load on him.
Do you know what? Big up still changing nappies.
So
big up, man. Big up.
I did that. That's not very hip hop, is it?
No, it's not. No, it's not. I can't imagine Snoop changing any nappies ever. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, not happening, man. Not happening. But no, I like that. I like that answer. It's good. So going into, I know you touched a little bit on the history and where it's all coming from, but how did you get into hip hop, man? Like, was there any artists you got into straight away, or albums, or was it?
You know, it's funny actually, because my story of how I got into hip hop is really, really quite interesting, because I was just into music. Obviously, me and my older sister, we just used to be into like funk and soul and reggae music. Reggae actually is what I was into more. Just growing up in a household, listening to all these records my parents would play and whatever. We loved all the like 80s stuff, like your Shalimars and Earth, Wind and Fire and Midnight Star and whoever. Basically, whatever was popping. Even Madonna came into the equation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everything was there. And then I must have seen, not Beat Street, the other one, Breaking. Breaking, and I got into breakdancing. So I was really into breaking, like really trying to, you know, spin on my head and do windmills and locking and popping and all that stuff. And then, yeah, obviously I heard Sugar Hill Gang. What I'm about to tell you right now is actually, it blows a lot of people's mind when I tell them. I actually missed the whole Run DMC era. Like, I was not into Run DMC. Like, I wasn't even paying attention to rap. Like, them times.
Really?
I wasn't.
But they were huge.
Yeah, of course. But that's what I'm trying to say. Like,
wow.
I was into like Yellow Man and the Sound System vibes. You know what I mean? Like Tipper Irie and Sweetie Irie and Asher Senator and Smiley Culture, and those were the artists I was listening to, and like all these other great Sound System artists. We weren't listening to Run DMC. Trust me, I was not into Run DMC like that. But I do appreciate them, and I like Down with the Kings, which is quite funny. We should redo it or something.
Yeah. You should, man. You should.
But yeah, I missed that whole era, and then come like 1985, 86, you had your Rakims coming out, and your Big Daddy Kanes and KRS-One with My Philosophy and all these ones. And I was like, yeah, I started listening properly to like Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, NWA, Ice Cube, all these. Public Enemy, and like I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Just list them names, man. That's a golden era right there.
And that's when I got into hip hop, and those were my teachers.
Damn.
That's when I really say, yeah, I took it serious. And then I started going to school reciting all those lyrics. I'd recite all Ice Cube's lyrics. I'd recite Microphone Theme from top to bottom.
Mate,
and people at school like, rah, you should rap, you know, you got a wicked voice. I was like, yeah.
To be fair though, your voice is one of my favourite voices in hip hop to listen
Thank
to.
you.
That is seriously. So did they think it was you? They think it was
well,
your
yeah,
lyrics?
and then they started calling me Rapper T, because like I said, everyone was listening to everyone was just chatting reggae. I come with this rapping thing like, yo, and whatever it was I was rapping at the time. And then obviously I got into my UK artists as well. So MC Mello, MCD, because he was in a crew called, I think, 2 Times Death or something. Wow. And then they came out with Silent Eclipse as a crew, or as a duo, whatever it was. Demon Boys were another one. And then London Posse. And then around that same time, me and Roots Maneuver were growing up together as well. You know, like we were proper tight. That was like my Cody. Do you know what I mean? So
Queen's Head, man.
Yep, Queen's Head. He was in a crew called, it's mad. I mean, if you got time, I could tell you the story. But
let's go.
So Angel Town was a studio where we all worked at. Roots Maneuver was in another crew called Silent Storm. They were like a singing, rapping type crew. And then Rodney must have done a remake of Pet Shop Boys, West End Girls.
What?
Exactly. You will never know this.
I've not heard this.
This is crazy. Exclusive. So he did this track for, he did like a remake of West End Girls. It was wicked. Like, I don't know what he called it. Probably called it East End Boys or something. Or East End Girls or whatever. But he made this other track. And then one of them independent labels must have heard it and thought, yeah, this is massive. You want to sign you up. We want to give you a deal. Rodney then decided to leave the group. Silent Storm. But obviously I was around we was around Angel Town together. And then the guys were like, oh, Rodney's left and we need a rapper. What are you saying? You want to join the group? So I joined this group called Silent Storm. I was a rapper in there. Oh. And then I started learning how to produce. This was VRS and another friend of ours called Michael from Stockwell Park Estate. So we started making records, making demos, blah, blah, blah. We got signed to a label called Go for the Juggler, which was by a lady called Sonia Polton. A lot of people might have seen her on TV recently. I think she goes on like This Morning.
Is it?
Yeah, she's a journalist.
Oh, okay.
Very well-spoken lady. When I say well-spoken, like outspoken even. Not so much well-spoken, outspoken and well-spoken. But she signed us to this label called Go for the Juggler. It was a brand new label. At the time, she was a journalist for Echoes magazine. Anyway, she was running this label. She heard us and then said, yeah, we want to sign you. So we actually recorded like an EP with her.
Damn.
Yeah, so it was like a singing, rapping thing, and we changed our name from Silent Storm to Split Decision. We've done shows with Mary J. Blige, Father MC, H-Town, like all these kind of, it's around the time when it was kind of hip hop, you know, like whole hip hop soul type thing.
That early 90s, isn't it?
Exactly.
93,
93, 94. But then obviously it wasn't really what I wanted to do because I wanted to just be that MC. So around 93, 94, I literally did what we did with them, and then I just did my own thing, and that's where Blak Twang was born.
Man, and you say Black. So I was talking to Rodney about this earlier, like Rodney P, about like MC names. Was that your first MC name, or did you have?
Nah. I had a lot of names. Like I said,
list me through.
Right, so the first one at school was called Rapper T.
Rapper T, like it.
Who knows why? Then there was one called T-Dove, because I had a friend of mine at school, Cool B, we used to call him as a DJ. We were kind of almost patterning ourselves after Public Enemy and whatever was out at the time, probably De La Soul. So they called me T-Dove. T-Dove,
okay.
Nothing peaceful about me, bro. So yeah, I had T-Dove, and then I got serious, and I changed my name from all of that, because no one really knew me as that anyway. I didn't do nothing, to Thai Panic. Actually, first of all, it was Thai Pan.
Taipan, okay.
Which was a book I read. It was about some Japanese smuggler or something, like, or pirate or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I found out Taipan was a type of snake. Then I was like, whatever. So then around 94, Illmatic came out. So I added ick to the back of my name and called myself Thai Panic. You know what I mean? Like Illmatic was like my favorite album at the time.
Man,
like it was amazing. So I called myself Thai Panic, and then after that, Blak Twang came, and Blak Twang really was inspired by Karen Wheeler and Soul to Soul. Karen Wheeler, after the Soul to Soul thing blew up, obviously around that time, with the Funky Dreads and Jazzy B, and then blew up big time. She had a solo album called UK Black.
Okay.
And then what she did was, with the UK Black, she spelled the black without the C. She spelled it with BLAK. And then her whole meaning and reasoning behind why she done it like that was because she said the connotations associated with the actual original black, if you look in the dictionary, it's always negative. So she wanted to reclaim the black, but spell it her way. So that's what inspired Black.
That is deep.
And then the twang, obviously, is how we talk. So it's just the Blak Twang.
You landed on a prime name, man. I tell you, Tony Rotten, Blak Twang. That's what I'm talking about. Like, that sticks out.
Exactly. So the whole Tony Rotten came about just me and Fallacy. If you remember, Fallacy was like the sex gods. So it was like not Sex Pistols, you know, Johnny Rotten and Tony Rotten, and he was Danny Vicious, like Sid Vicious. So that's how it came about.
Snap.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Kind of mad. You know, when you got a lot of time on your hands, you come up with all sorts.
You come with all, man. That's good, man. That's good. I like it. I never knew about the reclaiming of the black. That's really good.
Yeah.
That's deep.
So
deep,
that really was it with the Blak Twang. That's why I'm very, very picky about how people spell my name when they put me on flyers. And it might seem real, like really trivial when I say to them, listen, how long have I been around for? You still spelling my name with a C?
People aren't still doing that though, seriously.
Yeah, even today I saw it.
What?
Yeah.
Lazy.
Yeah, I know.
That's lazy.
So I'm like, do a bit of research.
Yeah, man. I've got to make sure all the Create 808 stuff has like the proper spelling on there now.
I'm sure.
So talking about voices, man, as I just said, love your voice when you're spitting out there. But I want to ask, man, who's your favourite voices in rap?
Rakim was always my favorite voice in rap. Chuck D. I've always liked like big voices and voices that had presence. Roots Maneuver was one of my other voices when we're together. Like obviously his voice was just unique and
so unique,
and quite different. What other Nas's voice, even though it's not powerful, it's just certain kind of quality about it. Do you know what I mean? So
if you try to spit Nas lyrics as they're written, it's really hard.
It's very hard. I get sore throat.
Yeah, it's like,
yo, rappers, I'm like, I've got too much body in my voice I need, you know what I mean? So
you need to go in, innit?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, Rakim alone, like that. You named two there. Chuck D, Rakim for me are like,
their voices sound like it's already running through an EQ.
It's crazy.
Which is mad.
Yeah, you can listen to them just talk, innit?
Yeah,
it's
I
mad.
love it.
So we have another question here, mate, from MF Gloom, yeah?
Okay.
Love that name.
MF Gloom.
Good work. Listen to the pod. He wanted to know, what was it like in the UK scene in the late 90s, early noughties, especially when a lot of people like himself became fans of UK hip-hop? Did the burgeoning US independent scene at the time have an impact or influence on what you were doing?
I don't think it had an influence as such. It definitely had an impact because obviously that was around the time when Raucus and them were coming out.
Yeah.
It had an impact, but it definitely didn't have no influence because we were already doing our thing anyway. We were already independent because UK never really signed UK. You know what I mean? Like UK labels didn't really tend to sign real rappers and real rap music. Do you know what I mean? Because I was like, oh, but it's American though. But it's American. What if you sampled Pat Benatar and did Love Is a Battlefield? Or, do you know? That's the kind of stuff we got.
Although I would love to hear you over a Pat Benatar sample.
If someone could hook it up, why not? But yeah, no, it didn't really influence us as such, but it definitely had an impact because obviously people realized actually, because Rawkers were doing so well with your Most Defs and your Talib Kweli's and High Tech and them, they thought, actually, you know what, we can make quite a lot of money from this. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the kind of impact it had and made people actually not look too much to getting signed to a big label, which is why I never actually got signed to a major label, ever. I think the remake of my album, the re-release or the actual official release of Network Southeast that came out in 2014, that should have been out in 1996, was the first time my record came out on a major label.
And that was Sony, right?
That was Sony.
What?
How mad is that?
You've been in this game for so long, though.
Yeah, bro.
And that's the first time. To be fair, though, I have to say, when I'd never heard Network. I'd never heard it.
Oh, right.
It was always 19 Long Time.
Okay, yeah.
And then Network Southeast came out, and it was, oh, right, okay, so this is sort of old. I thought it was after 19 Long Time, to be fair. But when I started hearing, no, this is the first one.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
so
right.
19 Long Time actually is the remake of Network Southeast. Right. But then as I was remaking it, I was like, oh, I've got an idea, and I started making other tracks, which is why there's some tracks on 19 Long Time that actually are on Network Southeast as well, but just different versions of it.
Yeah. And there's lyrics and that.
And different, exactly, altered. Well, you know.
Oh, right, okay. So, because that's mad. Because, first of all, anyone out there who wants to dive in, like, Network Southeast is a pillar, man. That Council State of Mind, Gangster Chronicles, those are Ty's Awkward, though. Even that, I listened to that recently and I was like, damn, this sounds amazing. Like, one thing I was going to say about, like, I think I was listening to a YouTube interview with you and you were talking about, like, our history as UK hip-hop scene. And you said, like, we need to cherish it. We need to, like, cherish where we've come from.
Definitely.
More so. And I think hip-hop, at a larger extent, even the US side, needs to cherish a bit more where they came from.
Actually, if I'm being honest, I think recently I've actually had a different sort of take on it. I feel like we should cherish all UK type stuff that's been coming out, because what I realise, as much as I talk about hip-hop specifically, no one talks about UK R&B that's been around forever. No one talks about the reggae artists that have been around forever. No one talks about, the funk artists that came out probably in the 80s and the 70s, your Imaginations and your just so many different acts, Omars and Donnies. Like, no one even knows. Like, you ask young people, like 18 to 25-year-olds, do you know these people? Nope. So we need to cherish all that history, because there's a rich history of, just as much as America's been popping, England's been doing the same thing. Because believe me, it might just take 6 months before it gets over here. But everything's been coming out. So around the time when Aretha Franklin was probably busting, we probably had our equivalent in England. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Yeah. And then it's true. It's the same thing when you think, like, I suppose the exception might be Sade. Like, she gets a lot of play all over, innit? But, like, when you do think, like, me growing up, so Lyndon David Hall was, like, huge.
Exactly.
No one talks about Lyndon David Hall now. And it's a pity he's not around anymore. But that you're right. It's not just
not just hip-hop. Right. Just every form of what we would consider not mainstream pop music needs to be cherished.
I don't know if it's going to happen with grime, though, because I feel like grime, people kind of know So Solid. People kind of know.
Yeah, we're saying that now. Yeah. Let's fast forward 20 years and see what happens.
Yeah, it's true, man.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But
I'm one of the lucky ones that people know that's been out since late 90s and still transcended all these generations and all these, you know what I mean? Still doing shows.
It's because you're consistent, though.
Yeah, I think so. Consistency. I think so. Yeah. And I just feel like that needs to be kind of brought. And what you're doing right now, definitely, we need to document it more.
This is what I'm saying.
There's a lot of books being written. I think with the advent of social media, you've got like a lot of people now able to actually tell their stories. And you got like, there's so many different IG pages where you got like hip hop from back in the days, or golden era hip hop, or old school hip hop, or I'm old school like. Do you know what I mean?
And there's following that.
There's so much stuff, and they're just putting out like loads. And you're watching, like today, someone posted a video by Blase Blase.
Oh, wow.
Do you remember when the East is in the house? Oh my God. And then they put another one, You Don't Know the Pain I Feel. And like they put so much stuff and you're seeing like raw footage of, do you know what I mean? So that's kind of good. And I'm hoping people are seeing it.
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
but it's got to be for UK and US together. Like I do think like even you, like this is why we started the pod. 90s hip hop. We were like, we're 90s heads. We grew up with the American side, and we weren't in the ghetto or in the council states or whatever. My family a bit more. We were in working class white areas.
Okay,
like there is no black people. I was considered black. Believe that I'm Asian, man. People would think I could dance and shit at school. I'd be like, what the fuck? Like this is such a skewed mentality. I don't understand. But this is how remote some areas of this country were.
Yeah, of course.
But then when you you look at like the culture that brought people together, I have to say, like in the UK, we need to be, like you said there, just proud of what we got, man.
Absolutely.
Fly that flag.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
And I think it definitely brought people together. Places I've been and, people I've met over the years, it's like normally I probably never ever meet them or ever even speak to them.
Okay.
Just on a regular walk of life, do you know what I mean? Because they would never come to my estate.
Yeah.
They'd never come to New Cross or Deptford or Peckham or Brixton, all these areas where I grew up in. They'll never come there.
So if we're talking like career then, like you said, you've been out and about and you met people you would never met. Have you got any career highlights like you would say, that stands out?
I'm going to say something real cliche because every one of them stands out, literally, because it's touched me in so many different ways. And I'm talking worldwide. With this music, I'm talking about me that was stuck in SE8. Literally, that was my postcode, SE8 4PX on Tannis Hill Estate. I've been to almost all corners of the world. The only place I ain't been to is probably South America because I don't speak Spanish. I've played in China, played all over Europe, played loads of African countries, played in the Caribbean, played in America.
That's mad.
And that's what music, and that's through hip hop. Those are really big highlights. But I suppose if I'm to kind of drag a couple of them out, I would say my show in Glastonbury was amazing. I think the 1999 show, 99 and 2000, where we had like so much people, and it inspired one of my lyrics where you hear me, when I say on Ain't Done Too Bad, yeah, he's dashing panties on stage like I'm Tom Jones, because that actually happened. Yeah. While I was performing, someone chucked their knickers and it landed straight on a turntable and it went right on. Big Ted can tell the story better than me. But so that was one of the highlights. And then another one was probably performing in Swansea at One Big Sunday in front of like 100,000 people plus with Destiny's Child, and I think I brought Estelle on stage with me that year.
Damn.
That was 2002 or 3. Then I did a small intimate show in Nairobi in the British Council compound.
Oh, wow.
The energy was incredible. Like, it wasn't even like it was some big mass show, but there was a lot of people in there. It was so overwhelming. I literally had tears in my eyes.
Oh, man.
It's that mad. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So these are all little like highlights of things that I've done. And then probably my very first show I ever did as Blak Twang, and I got the reaction I got in Borderline, just up the road, Manette Street, behind what used to be the Astoria. Yeah. It's no longer there.
I know. I used to have some heavy gigs in the story.
Mad. Anyway, so that would have been an amazing highlight because Borderline was like the spot where everyone was at. You had like all the real hip hop heads were in there. And if they liked you, if you could make it in Borderline, you could make it anywhere, kind of thing. And the reaction I got from my opening line, and I just had people just clapping like. And then after the show, they were like, "Wow, we never knew you rap," kind of stuff. So
damn, that's the power, man. That's wicked. Yeah. I remember Subterranean for me was that thing. Like, I remember going to Borderline, but I remember first feeling really like, oh, I found like a home from home with Subterranean. Yeah. And that, man, I miss that place.
I know.
I miss that place. I'm sure there's some other places out there, but I'm so old now. I probably
not now. Honestly, there isn't. I think maybe there is. Maybe Chip Shop is the closest we're going to get to.
Chip Shop, yeah. DJ Shorty.
Chip Shop, whatever Snuff is doing, Brixton Jam or Hootenanny. Those
few
are
places, yeah, man. I'm going to go in. I know this is a big question, and I know a lot of people hate me for asking it, but I'm going to ask it. But it's not got to be strictly set in stone. I'm sure these will change. Blak Twang, man, tell me your top 5 MCs.
Okay, so for me, as I mentioned probably 2 of them that were really influential in what I do. And then I listened to something recently and I thought, oh, that's why I rap like this. Okay, so I'm going to say Rakim is 1. Big Daddy Kane was 1, definitely. And I'm going to say because he sort of made me sort of flip the cadence a little bit. The break, the take, all of that they used to do back in the days. KRS 1. And I didn't realize it was KRS One until I actually played one of his songs over there. I was like, oh, yeah, so that's why I like making bangers, but with substance in them.
That's what he did, though.
Exactly.
That's what he did, yeah.
So I say KRS One, I say Nas, and then I've only got 5, haven't I? Because I would love to give you 10. But I'm going to say MCD is my 5th one. MCD is my 5th one, and then I got like my other set of 5. So that's like my first team. Then I got my second team.
Go on, who's in the reserves? Go on, drop me a few.
They're not reserves. This is just like if those ones aren't working, then these guys will come.
Champions League.
Right. So I would put Pharoah Monch. Would be another one.
Big.
Cool G Rap's another one. Ice Cube's another one. Roots Maneuver's another one of my favorite MCs. And who am I missing? Difficult. Buckshot.
Is it?
Yeah.
Buckshot.
Let me tell you why, You see these guys, I've got reasons because these guys came in and actually pushed that envelope a bit more. Do you know what I mean? They didn't just rap the way LL Cool J sort of rapped. And by the way, I mean that in saying LL Cool J was a pioneer. So they didn't just come in and take LL Cool J style and just that's enough.
Yeah.
They then pushed it a little bit more. Do
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
So when Buckshot, when I heard him, you could hear Rakim influence, but then he made it melodic. And then started feeling another part of you know what I mean? He started flipping it and
he was flipping it on. Sometimes it was like not singing, but like
that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that he did that. And when I say Pharoah Monch didn't just rap like this complex words. He just did a whole heap of madness with it, like alter his voice. And Pharoah Monch was is incredible. Do you know what I mean?
He creates characters and shit.
And then like basically all the ones I mentioned are impactful MCs. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like they're the ones that came out, and then you heard their babies come out after them. That's why those are the kind of MCs that I really respect.
I like that, mate.
And they're my favourites.
Very strong 5, strong 10. To be fair, strong 10.
This is TY, and you are rocking with the amazing Crate 808 podcast. So listen, enjoy this week's episode, but remember to subscribe, catch a vibe, and just let it all just melt inside your body and catch the essence of hip hop, baby. All right.
We have another question here that we usually ask. Which 90s artist do you think has aged the best?
I guess we'll have to say Jay-Z. That guy doesn't even grow a beard. Nah.
Yeah, but it's true though.
Yeah, I'm going to say Jay-Z, and I'm surprised I didn't put him as... Actually, you know what? I didn't put him as one of my MCs, but I do like Jay-Z's material, like literally. But I think Jay-Z's aged the best, and I mean that in physically and mentally, because I'm a progressive kind of person anyway. So I like people that actually move with the times as well. As Darwin said, it's not the strongest of the species that survive, but the ones most adaptable to change. And so he's probably been the most adaptable to change as far as what's going on. And I feel I'm the same way, because as much you're not gonna hear me doing a drilling thing, but I'm sure I could flip it in my kind of way. And that's me adapting. That's the same way Jay-Z adapts, but it still keeps the essence of Jay-Z.
Yeah.
I'm still going to keep the essence of Twang.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You can't keep doing the same thing.
Exactly. I'm not going to do what I did back in 1998 in 2019.
And that's it.
I'm going to keep that essence of who I am, that integrity, but I'm going to bring it in.
But do you know what gets me about that, yeah? Because you're an intelligent guy. I think like it's interesting when there's people out there who just want the same thing.
Oh, I know.
Who are just like, well, no, that's not, so rotten. That's not this. And it's
I
like,
know.
well, it's not.
I know. But you know what I say to them all the time? I'm like, well, you saw what happened to the dinosaurs, bruv.
That's it, man.
It's
true, though. It's true. It's true.
They became extinct.
Yeah. Like Jigga's been doing his thing. And the thing I like about Jigga is the fact that if it was before 444, I may have dismissed him a bit more. But when he dropped that, that to me is like, oh, now you're talking to me like, I appreciate where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't manipulate all of it,
Yeah.
but I'm hitting 40 soon. I've got a little boy. I've got a family and stuff like
course.
that. And again, this is when I was into your Fire in the Booth freestyle with Charlie Sloth and you three boys. Man, first of all, fucking absolute fire. But like, even when like you guys are just spitting, everyone's very different.
Yep.
You've all changed, but you've also kept it honest.
Yeah.
And Rodney, the way Rodney's talking about my wife is still like my like she's changed my life, my kids, and all that stuff is to me like the honesty can't die. Like you can't kill that. Like if you can stay honest to who you are and still bring it in an original way, yeah, man, that's the key.
Yeah, and that's it. Like you said, that's the key. You got to do you, man, because no one can do it better than you. Do you better than you.
That's it.
And sometimes you do get like criticism when people are like, oh, you're trying to be like the young boy them and you're trying to do this and you're trying to do that. The fact of the matter is, you're just trying to do you, bro.
Yeah.
And if it comes across as trying to be someone else, then that's on you or that's on them. But you can only do what you can and do the best you can. You know what I mean? So
that's it. Nah.
That Fire in the Booth was actually quite fun for us.
I could tell. I could tell. You went in twice, man.
Yeah, I did. I wanted all them to go in twice. But yeah.
No, man, that was fun. It was fun for me. I keep rewinding that. It's wicked. So again, more 90s, right? Again, this might give you a bit of a headache, but were you more Biggie or Pac?
I was more Biggie, I guess. But not because I liked him any better than Pac, just because I was into East Coast rap more than anything else. Because if you remember, UK, we weren't into down south rap, or we weren't into like West Coast as such. We like little Snoop Dogg and NWA, but NWA kind of sounded like East Coast because their production style was very Bomb Squad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So, and Ice Cube, obviously, even after he left NWA, he went and found the Bomb Squad or Hank Shockley and them to produce some good stuff for him. So, but going back to the Biggie and Pac thing, I wasn't into Pac, but I knew about Pac obviously because he was down with Digital Underground. So I saw Pac in his days of wearing his West African garb in that video where he was on his Coming to America type vibe. I can't remember what song that was actually.
Oh, it's Before I Get Around, isn't it?
It was Before I Get Around, exactly.
Yeah.
So obviously then we knew him from I Get Around. If My Homies Call, I remember all of that.
Yeah.
And I remember him with his that ring
The
with
ring.
a star.
Yeah.
So I knew Pac before Biggie. And then Biggie came out, like Party and Bullshit, and obviously he featured on the Mary J. Blige, Look Up in the Sky.
Real Love.
So Biggie was fire. So I think maybe I was into Biggie because he was just spitting and it was that East Coast, you know what I mean? And
It's true, we had that East Coast bias over here, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. So yeah, to answer your question, I guess Biggie. But not because of that competition, because I don't really see the competition. It's the same with that Jay-Z Nas thing. Like everyone, it's only because they had beef that everyone started comparing them because they're nothing like each other. At the time, I'm telling you now, all this King of New York shit, Nas was a King of New York. Definitely, like hands down. Like when I was in New York in '94, Nas was like everything. You know what I mean?
Well, he changed the game. That's a classic.
Fully.
When are you going to dive into Illmatic in a minute, man? We're going to have to, man. I'm wearing the fucking top, man. So I've got to do it. I've got to do it. And another one, which I can't answer, so I'd appreciate it if you can answer this, Scott. I can't. Dr. Dre or DJ Preemo?
Preemo.
Yeah? Or Preemo?
Yeah, Preemo. Preemo because Preemo just made classic bangers. Dr. Dre, obviously, he's got nothing but bangers, but yeah, Preemo was more the guy. Like,
yeah.
And then his sound, I think, was more imitated by most producers. If they said who you like, if you like that beat pattern, like boom, boom, kip, that pattern was always Preemo. So, and then when you think of all the Gangstar production, like all the beats that he made and
Sick.
all those tracks, all the stuff he made for J. Rue, everyone forgets like the Prophet album or
Come Clean, man.
like just crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, Preemo.
Okay.
That's easy.
I like it, man.
That's easy because everyone's gonna look at Dre because he had maybe bigger hits. However, iconic, impactful beats, game-changing productions and ways of sampling, it was him. With like little or no musicality whatsoever, Preemo can make a beat sound ridiculous.
Yeah, that's true. He would only need a simple thing.
Exactly.
Only a very simple thing, but it slapped, man. It did. It slapped. And the other one I wanted to say, because we talked about live shows and you talked about you've been around the world kind of thing, but what's one of the best shows you've been to as like just a person who's...
To watch?
Yeah, to watch.
Anything involving Busta Rhymes was just ridiculous. I saw Biggie at Hammersmith Palais in, can't remember what year it was. I saw Naughty by Nature. Those were amazing shows.
Naughty by Nature was the first gig I ever went to.
Really, really amazing. They're really good performers. But standout show for me, actually, here's one for you. AG with that show at Subterranean was incredible.
Yeah?
I was watching this guy like, wow, this is flawless. Vocal clarity, mic control,
Wow.
breath control, and it just sounded wicked.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's just mad.
Yeah.
So AG.
I've not thought that, but yeah.
Yeah, AG was different.
You know when you say vocal clarity, I think that's a big thing for him.
Very much.
If you can nail that live, you're halfway there, man.
Definitely.
Because so many people we went to the Gods of Rap tour, and we were like, well, school kids were like, this is going to be ridiculous. And it was. To be fair, it carried through because who you're seeing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the system was just not there, man. It just didn't do it justice.
That's a shame, really. It's always, I found that was always a problem with UK. It wasn't until we went to tour in Germany in 2000. I toured with a guy called Sammy Deluxe with a group called
Sammy Deluxe, yeah.
Dynamite Deluxe, and that tour was an eye opener for me. The sound was just amazing. Like my voice sounded like it should sound.
Wow.
We had in-ear monitors. I'd never used that before in my life. And the sound system was wicked because they had their own rig. Like we had either 2 or 3 tour buses. Like we did 19 dates all around Germany and Austria and Switzerland.
Oh wow!
Back in 2000. This is before Kickoff album came out. Before, so in actual fact, that's where I started playing So Rotten.
Oh,
that was my opening song, and everyone was like, "This."
And that's before it proper
way before it blew. It wasn't even on that. It wasn't even an album track.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then it's funny because that was then our last single off the album, which kind of was stupid. We thought about it properly. Germany always had it on lock. Like had that whole sound on lock. UK we struggled a little bit. Although this last tour we did, I think the sound was decent.
Yeah.
The Kingdem tour was decent.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I think hip-hop suffers more than most. Like, you can play techno, you can play electro, and you kind of get away with it sometimes, I think. But, like, yeah, I think if it's not on point for the hip-hop, it really detracts
it does.
from it.
It definitely. Especially when there's too much bass and then it's just drowning out your vocals and whatnot.
Man.
So, yeah.
Definitely. So going on, like, we talked 90s, I was thinking to myself the other day, it's like 2019, man, end of a decade coming up, and a lot of people don't like to measure things by decades, but I do. So it's like the 80s and 90s, whatever. But like I was trying to ask you, from 2010 to like 2019 now.
Yeah.
What are some of your like favorite artists or favorite pieces of work or favorite albums that you've heard in the last like 9-10 years?
Exhibit A.
Yes.
So that mixtape as well by J Electronica was pretty serious and heavy.
I want him to do more, man.
Yeah, I know. 444 I thought was pretty special.
That was dope.
Just in the concept and the way he just actually approached it differently to what he done.
Yeah. Have you got any love for the Kendricks or the J. Coles?
Oh, yeah.
Or
Of course. Good Kid, Mad City was one of my favourites.
Yeah.
Definitely. Pimp a Butterfly was pretty dope too. Damn was good. I mean, all his projects been really good.
Yeah,
but if I had to pick one that stood out, I would say Good Kid, Mad City. I just love all that. It was wicked as well.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, so a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, what is her name? Rhapsody stuff.
Yes.
I like a lot.
Thank you, mate. I'm waiting. I've been waiting for someone to drop that.
Rhapsody's fire.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she's on someone's. Yeah, that's it. Murs just dropped an album with Ninth Wonder.
Okay.
Like, I think it was like this month, and she's on a feature on there, rewindable, mate. Like literally, I was listening to it on the train. I was like, "Whoa!" You know, you need to take that in. Yeah, man. She's got bars. She's got bars,
sick.
man.
She's sick.
If we talk about like the modern rappers and stuff, then so what are your thoughts on like the culture at the moment, like hip hop generally at the moment? Not necessarily UK, but just generally.
It's not as inspiring for me, but that's probably because I'm older than them, and sometimes I listen to them thinking, that's not really resonating with me as such. However, it's still in a good place because there's still loads of stuff that's coming out. I heard some artist recently, and I'm trying to remember her name. It's another female, actually. Rodney P put me onto her, but I can't remember her name. She's really, really good.
US, UK?
US.
Yeah.
Yeah, US. And then, obviously, UK-wise, the scene's just crazy right now.
I think it's better than it's ever been.
However, it's not better as far as it's ever been. It's more like, it's very splintered, unfortunately.
Okay.
And when I say splintered, I could ask someone from my neighborhood, do you know who that person is? And they'll be like, never heard of him. And that person's huge. If I said to somebody, do you know, and it's no disrespect to any artist I even mention, but if I said to them, you know, so-and-so, like I've got young nephews and young cousins and stuff, like 21, 22, stuff like that. And I say to them, do you know, let me just use, I don't know, I'm just going to say Mice Diggy.
Yeah, Mice Diggy, yeah.
Nah. And then they ask me, do you know so-and-so? And I can ask someone that probably wouldn't know Mice Diggy and say, do you know who Scraps is? Do you know who Scraps is?
I don't.
See what I'm saying?
I don't.
There you go. Right. If I say, you know, Scraps, and I think both are dope, by the way. Or I say, do you know who Snap Capone is? Or do you know blah, 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 Pot of Paper? Do you know Blade Brown? And they have no idea. And then I ask them lot that listen to all that stuff, do you know who this That's the problem. And the reason why that is because back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I'm talking like late 90s, mid 90s, early 2000s, we had like central places we could go to listen to music. We know we're locking into, I don't know, Friday Night Flavor at 9 o'clock, or we're locking into Westwood, or we're locking into Shorty and Ted on a Wednesday evening, or we're locking into Max and Dave. Like, we knew where to listen to our music. Now, you don't really know where to go listen to like strictly rap and hip hop.
That's true, man.
Maybe Itch FM. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or I'm sure there's like smaller shows, but it's not on a like, we're not getting it and everyone's not excited about it. So it's only Charlie Sloth now people are hearing, and that's only if you got Apple Music.
Yeah.
Or you go on YouTube later on. So that's why it's a bit different.
That's interesting you said, because that's opened my eyes, because I was like, for me, when I say it was the best it's ever been, because I remember when I was in the scene, so I was going to like all these shows and I don't know if you remember Raw Organics, but that was quite big. Raw Organics going to that, and like,
wasn't that? No, that was different. I was going to say Raw Organics in Cambridge
Junction.
That's the one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember going to that and like Ice-T performing there and shit. Like, fuck, there's a big acts going there, as well as all our guys. As I've got older, I've come out of it a little bit, and I thought like the beauty of hip hop right now is it's so diverse in the UK. I've got Little Sims here, Dave here, M Moncho here.
Of course, you got Young Teflon, who's just released a project that's dope as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then, but on the other hand, you've got like loads of like Michael Parkinson and Phoenix the Icefire and Iron Braids. All these guys putting out music.
Yeah.
Never the twain shall meet, as they say.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Mad. Yeah.
So they're not linking, and that's why I find it like, it's good, but
there needs to be like
I want
bring it together. Innit?
I want them to be able to do a festival and like, you know, same way you could get, I don't know, Lil Baby go and do a show. Kendrick could come and do a show in the same in the same arena on the same stage.
So if anyone is listening to this podcast right now, do that.
Exactly.
Make some money, man.
Yeah,
that's probably
absolutely.
Money maker
So
right
I think the only ones that are probably crossing over slightly are like your Koji Radicals and your Ocean Wisdoms and them kind of ones. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not even High Focus. High Focus are doing their thing, but they're not crossing over into the scene where you're gonna find a gig with, I don't know, with Gigs or with
it's true though.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like, you're not with Mo Stacks and all these other guys that are rapping and rappers, but they're not crossing. With Krept and Conan, they're like Krept and Conan are hip hop.
Yeah.
Like, or whatever they want to call it. Like, everyone tries to give it all these little names and whatever, but at the end of the day, we know what it is, bruv. Like, you're rapping and you're rapping over some hard beats.
But then you have like someone like Stormzy just overlooking everything though.
Yeah, but he's also rapping and killing it. Over rap beats. I can rap over any beat, by the way, just so you know. And I'm sure most really accomplished MCs can rap over any. Give me a grind beat, I'll kill it. Give me a drill beat, I'll kill it. Give me a trap beat, it's hip hop, bro. Like, stop calling it all these funny names.
Yeah.
Like, because all I've got to do is come up with another name and call it Screwdriver or something.
Yeah.
Oh, they've already had Screw.
They've already had Screw, man. They've already had Screw.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
What I'm saying. But this is the thing. I think that's also because of the craft, though. I think once you've, and again, I'm not an MC, so I can't. I'm seeing it from an outside's point of view. But once you put your work in for the craft, chipping away, then I think it's probably easy. Not even easy, but like a bit more effortless to be like, you know what, that beat, I
exactly,
can because I know my craft.
And that's the thing. And that's why sometimes you hear some of my age group even, oh boy, you got trap beats on your track. I'm like, bruv, it's not trap beats. It's just a good beat. I don't really care what beat it is.
Yeah.
Like, don't expect me to make what I made in 1998 again. Like, boom bap, like, just strictly, because that's not all I'm into, bruv.
No.
And you know this anyway, because my music's always been laced with undertones of reggae and ragga.
Absolutely.
And sometimes a bit of this and a bit of that. Do you know what I mean? So it's just one of them ones where I feel we should stop limiting ourselves as well. So yes, hip hop is more commercial, and I'll tell you why we might think it's like the best it's ever been. It's because it's the best we've ever been supported by our own people.
Yeah.
But that's not just England. Anywhere you go in the world now, like if you go to Germany, they're not trying to hear no American hip hop. They're trying to hear German hip hop. You go to Kenya, they're trying to hear Kenyan hip hop.
Yeah.
They're trying to go Morocco, they're trying to hear Moroccan hip hop. Go to Poland, they want to hear Polish. But back in the day, when they hadn't really mastered the craft, as we said.
Yeah.
They wanted to hear like all these rappers. Like I play, like when I DJ sometimes, I could go without playing any American records and it will still bang, you know, because UK now has got their own sound. You got the Afro beats, you got the Afro whatever, like a whole heap of different styles.
It's got DNA, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And then you see people like Drake co-opting it and people like that. And then you realise that people are coming to us for our style.
Definitely.
Kind of thing. That's what I love, man. That's wicked. So moving on to a few last ones, Matt, I got for you here, right? First of all, actually, no, I need to talk to you about Illmatic, man. I forgot I need to talk to you about Illmatic. Tell me how you heard Illmatic, because you said you went to New York when Illmatic was out.
Right, so I went to New York, not before it came out. Obviously, it came out here and everyone heard it, and we heard this album. We're like, damn. From the opening scene, like I think the opening scene is like Beat Street or something. Like,
Genesis.
Yeah, the Genesis. Yeah. And yo, rapping is Illmatic, man. And he's talking, and then the New York State of Mind comes in, and from then on, it was like you couldn't even skip one particular track. So I was just into it. Like I just listened to it and listened to it. I can't remember. Do you know? I think I bought the album because it had that sepia tone record cover, didn't it? And
beautiful record.
Yeah, I bought the album. And I think I got the cassette or something so I could play it in my box. I had no turntable probably. Yeah. I can't remember, but it was so wicked. And then I think that same year I went to New York, or the year after in '95.
Right.
And around that time he done a remix of Whose World Is This? So and he had the line Giuliani 666 on that one there, and it was just so wicked. And New York was just crazy, you know. They were wearing the Timberlands and everyone was in their camouflage type gear and the fisherman hat and all this.
Sick.
You know what I mean? It was just a wicked time. And just being in New York, like people they were rolling the blunts in the cigar paper. First thing in the morning, you're in like Lower East Side in New York, and you're like, guys are just out there, just blazing up. You know what I mean? So amazing. That was the energy, that was the vibe, and just being there was crazy. And I think that same year. It was either that same year I went to this club in, I think it was on 34th Street or just behind Times Square. And it was a place called Funk Hut.
Okay.
The Funk Hut. And it was hosted by this lady called Grandma Funk, I think her name was.
That sounds
She had this big afro. Anyway, I'm in there now, and that's the first time I heard woo-ha. Because not playing on the DJ, as in performing it.
What, Buster was in there?
Buster performed. Do you remember Lin Q from X-Clan?
I remember X Clan.
Right, so the female light-skinned lady,
Yeah.
like she was there. She spat, but it was an open mic, and people just came but Buster just came on and just absolutely murdered it. Yeah,
You talk about pushing it forward. Buster was doing that though.
yeah, it
Buster was
mad.
doing that.
I'm not sure if that was the same year. I might be mixing it up a little bit, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
New York, man.
Yeah, it was wicked. But anyway, back to Illmatic though. Yeah, Illmatic was just one of them ones where it was only 10 tracks or 9 tracks or something.
Yeah, it's about 10 tracks. Yeah,
Yeah.
including the intro.
And it was just like,
What's your banger? What's your one off of there? If you had to take one off of there and keep it for yourself like that, Kate, I wish I could have spat on that.
the beat or
The beat, yeah, the beat.
Oh, that's difficult. That's just not even fair. It's between Whose World Is This or New York State of Mind.
Yeah,
But then you've got Represent.
that's my jam. That's my jam, man.
And then you've got
Halftime though as well.
what's the one? Halftime's wicked. There's one.
Memory Lane.
Dun, 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 not that one. Then let us take a trip down memory.
Yeah, that's sweet.
I rap for blunt hair. Yeah, not that one. Oh yeah, It's World Is Yours. I sip on down P writing.
Gandhi.
Watching Gandhi till I'm charging, writing in my book of rhymes.
Boys
all the
watching
words
Gandhi,
past the
mate.
mark. Yeah, I know.
Jesus.
It's mad.
That's deep.
Exactly.
It means like 19.
Yeah, and that's what kind of, when you listen to it and you think, just the creativity of like painting those pictures, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. And as I said, that was an inspiration for me.
Yeah.
To really painting pictures. That's why you hear me say on Network Southeast, painting pictures in rhymes like Van Gogh, I stand tough, like my afro. Just trying to really like bring you into my world. Like,
Yeah. And you know that New York influence, and I'm not sure if it influenced you directly, but I do hear it when I hear Queen's Head. Like, again, for people who don't know, go listen to that. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. But I remember that video you had Roots.
Yes,
I'm sure
yes.
It ties in that video.
Everyone's in that video. In actual fact, back in the day when I was making videos, the whole hood used to come out.
Is it?
Like from all over London as well, not just like South London hood.
Yeah.
Like when I made real estate video,
Yeah.
there's like 100 man in my videos and we're on the bikes. And
That's
that was
sick,
on
mate.
my estate.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that was
Heavy.
good times. That was when it wasn't like a massive scene, but the scene was really like supportive if you were really like doing it. So.
But that Illmatic thing does seep through into, well, for me, when I hear Queen's Head, it's like, that's like Dead Presidents, but like ours. And, and not really like Dead Presidents at all, really.
No,
but like,
it doesn't sound like anything like it. However, it's probably an inspiration. I'm sure subconsciously I was thinking, "Ooh, they got Dead Presidents on their money. We got Queen's Heads on our money." So,
but that's it. It's a very simple
Shall I
thing.
tell you what inspired Queen's Head?
Go on.
I was driving through just near King's Cross, actually, just down the road. I see this pub called the Queen's Head.
Oh.
The Queen's Head. And that's really what inspired it. Yeah, literally.
Need to go back there, man. For a pint, innit?
Yeah, so that's what, and the actual single cover with me and Roots Maneuver looking like the bloody Phil Mitchell and
Grant, innit?
Grant Mitchell with the money, was shot on Turnpike Lane. There's another pub called the Queen's Head.
Oh,
a bigger one, and actually more aesthetically kind of looks better than the one in just behind King's Cross, behind Scala, just behind there.
Is it? Okay, man. Oh, wow. That's wicked. Because I automatically thought it was the money, but yeah. But that's why it's such an English title. It's just us. It's like, bang, this is us, man.
Yeah.
And Roots killed it on that, man.
He smashed it.
Absolutely killed it. Wicked. So one last thing, man, I wanted to ask you. Well, actually, a few last things I wanted to ask you. One last thing was, we have a playlist, right? And we talk on our podcast about all these 90s albums.
Yeah.
And Woo come up like 100 times,
of course,
all the time, right? So we want to know if there was like some hidden Woo bangers. Like, everyone knows Protect Your Neck, everyone knows Bring the Ruckus, but is there like a hidden Woo track where you've been like, not even hidden, but one where you be like, that needs to get a bit more play, like people need to talk about that more?
I'll tell you right now.
Go on.
Tears.
Yes. 36, man.
Yeah. After laughter.
And RZA's on there, isn't it? Like,
he smashes it.
Kills it.
Like, amazing. There's so many tracks.
Isn't that the one where he goes, ha, 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 ha,
yeah, that's the one.
Oh, my
That's
God.
the one.
Yeah, he kills it. Yeah, man. Yeah.
There
Now
you
I
have
like
it.
it. Tears. I put it on. That's our playlist. Check it out. I'm going to put it on there.
And it's just a transition between the chorus and the dun, 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 just the organ kind of stabs that is.
Yeah.
It's wicked.
Yeah, man. Love
wicked.
that.
You can tell I'm a
Love that.
producer, innit?
You're breaking it down and everything. I love that. So what was before we go, the last great thing you heard? What was the last great piece of music you heard? It could be anything. It could be like from now or whenever.
Last great piece of music. I can tell you which one I played that I just think is just classic.
Yeah, man.
Norman Connors, You Are My Starship.
You Are My Starship.
Mobb Deep sampled it.
Oh.
Boom, 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 boom,
Ah.
boom. And the opening is like just this mad piano. Yep, go for it. You're gonna be like, wow, this is dope.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not the last great piece of music, but that's the last one I actually played recently.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So is that some jazz, yeah? Jazz or
it's
funk?
jazz. Jazz. It's not even jazzy. It's just kind of, I don't know what you call it really. It's soul. And the way do you remember that track? It's on Mobb Deep. It's on the Infamous album. I think it's called "Give Up the Goods." That's the sample they used.
Okay, I like it. That's banging. I like to hear that. I like to hear anything new I've not heard before, man. So it's always good.
It's wicked.
So before we leave, man, just wanted to ask: is there anything you want to plug? And really, what I'm asking when I say that is there any solo music coming up?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I've been saying this for too long now, and it's kind of getting too long. But I've actually got an album already ready to go.
Oh, stop it!
I just need a couple finishing touches here and there.
Okay.
And over the years, I've been working on this album, and if I tell you some of the features that I had on it, but ain't gonna be on it, just because it's just so long. I had a track with Ed Sheeran on there. I had a track with Rich. This is before they all were like what they are now. It might be a bit difficult now. Anyway, so I had a track with Ed Sheeran on there. I had a track with Rich 32 on there.
Okay.
I had a track with Lioness was on it. Just stuff that I've been working on over
Heavy
the
hitters,
years.
man.
Yeah, but I've been working on a bunch of stuff. It's going to be called Rotten City.
Love that.
Yeah, Rotten City. It was originally called Mayor of Rotten City, but I changed it. I'm not longer the mayor because all the mayors just fuck up the whole city.
Yeah, you don't want to be associated with it. Yeah.
So, what's his name? Sadiq Khan and before him, Boris Polish.
Bloody Boris, mate.
Boris Polish the Johnson. But, so Rotten City is literally about to drop after the Kingdem EP.
Yes,
comes out. Obviously, the Kingdom EP will be dropping on the 23rd of August. Not sure when this is going out, but hopefully.
And then this will be out before that. So
right.
man.
So
man. Peep it out, people.
Yeah, definitely look out for that. Look out for the Rotten City. It's got some real fire on there. There's tracks produced by Harry Love's got a track on there.
You and Harry go back though, innit?
Me and Harry have always worked together. You know, rest in peace to his pops. He lost his dad recently, so rest in peace to him. But Harry's a great guy, man. Like we go back since Harry was 15 years old.
Wow,
you know what I mean? So
yeah, deep in the game, man.
It's a while.
Yeah, man.
But
we're here for that.
So there's tracks by Harry. There's a few tracks I need to record with Nutty P. The Silverstone is an artist, an Afrobeat artist, producer, but he's a producer anyway. He produces everything. He's done a lot of stuff. He did some stuff with Sway back in the days.
Oh, wow.
He's done a lot of stuff recently. So yeah, and there's obviously stuff by myself on there. Myself and Silverstone working on stuff. So.
I'm here for that, man.
Yeah,
it
should be exciting. It should be exciting.
Man, definitely.
Look forward
and the door's open anytime you want to come back. And
now I know where you are.
Yeah, exactly. Come on down, man. Come on down. But yeah, thank you very much, Twang, man. Seriously, you blessed us, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And
it's fun. Man. It's always fun talking about the 90s, man. Like because 90s is where we kind of, it's almost like before you graduate, that's where you went to school. Like 90s was the school of hard knocks or school of hard raps, if you want to call it that.
And we had a lot of good teachers, man.
Very, very good teachers. Amazing.
Mate, next time you come, man, bring an album, man. I want you to bring an album. Let's dive in. Even if it's Illmatic, let's dive in, man. Track by track.
Yeah, I'm going to bring an album because I've got loads of records in my studio at home. And I'm like, every time I pull it out, like, even when we talked about what was it, the independent era when stuff
Raucous.
There's a track, by the way, like you guys know it, I'm sure. Remember that track by Common? I think it's called 1999.
Yeah, unreal. On Raucous, Soundbombing.
Yeah. Then you had Shabam Sadiq with a couple of other bangers.
Sick.
And just all that good stuff.
Pharaoh on there as well, man.
Yeah.
Pharaoh used to kill that. Shabam Sadiq and Pharaoh.
So there was that track that just had this mad Anyway, I'm digressing again.
I'm here for all of it though. I'm here for all of this. This is what I want to do, man.
Yeah,
gush about the 90s.
Yeah,
man.
It's wicked. So,
yeah, man. But we got to do some Raucous records.
Definitely.
We've done Black on both sides, but we need to do more.
Let's do
more. Yeah,
Let's
man.
do
it. Wicked. But thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. Crate 808. Fire.
Peace, bro.
Wicked.
There we go. What a lovely guy. Blak Twang. They're all lovely. All three of them, man. They've all killed it. They're all brilliant. They're all bringing their A game. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. And again, just keep it locked. We've got Rodney P coming. If you haven't heard, listen to Ties. And, their EP is coming out. So, yeah, please do check that out. And as you see, man, they're all bringing insightful stuff into the culture that we love. So, if you're enjoying this, please hit us up on Twitter at Crate808. Or you can email us, crate808@gmail.com. Hit us up on Instagram if you want to follow our 90 stream of consciousness, crate_808, and also just visit the website crate808.com. I just want to say big up all the people that made this happen. Lee Can, Brap, Killer Keller for the hookup, Grindhouse Music for doing all the music, love you mate, and everyone out there, man, just keep it real, and any feedback you've got for us, please drop us a line. Otherwise, rate, review, and subscribe. I know we keep saying it, but man, it makes a difference. We're trying to grow here. So anyway, keep it locked, keep it 90s, and just keep it real, man. Right. Peace.